This movie tells a story about Edgar Allan Poe and 4 other colleagues on a training exercise in upstate New York who are drawn by a gruesome discovery into a forgotten community. The movie tries to blend Poe's life and works in a mediocre piece of horror, as it's using some influences from other movies such as Sleepy Hollow and Jeepers Creepers. The story tries to focus on aspects of love, but there's not enough present in the film to make the direction sensible. As the story unfolds, some parts feel unclear and confusing at times. There are plot holes as the points of conflict between secondary characters go unexplained. The script is very simple. In fact, it's too simple. It feels rushed as a character gets a few minutes to fill in a raft of backstory. Some of the lip service to the lore is a little clunky as well. The movie struggles to sustain a narrative that demands its characters remain in peril despite obvious red flags. As the movie progresses, it gradually becomes a very typical kind of a really familiar period horror. It has all the right components and subject matter, but as a whole, it feels really mediocre. The movie has all the expected trappings of a gothic tale. Unfortunately, it lacks the extra edge to spice it up. It promises to give us the gothic fear-laden nightmare. Unfortunately, what we get is a muted and generic affair. Rather than getting properly drawn in, the viewer is always at a distance. The scare sequences are never intense enough to fray your nerves, and everything feels a bit bland. There are impalement deaths, transformations from human to spirit forms, and scars that insinuate the Raven merciless reign, but the camera feels unnatural capturing these moments. Outside the opening victim's gutted stomach wound, there's not much graveyard excitement. The Raven creature itself is a bit disappointing, especially if you watch plenty of monster horror movies. The first half of the film builds tension better, with the Raven unseen, as it fails in its noticeably computerized presentation. William Moseley, who plays Poe, lacks the spark, mania, and lunacy, while the supporting cast is more of a mixed bag. There are good things about this movie, like the setting, production design, costume, and atmosphere. In the end, the movie achieves its intent to make an origin story for Edgar Allan Poe. Unfortunately, it still falters in its execution. The lack of subtlety perhaps makes it very accessible for those who's not really familiar with him, but it will no doubt be slightly disappointing for those with a deeper knowledge of his work. Overall, it's not really worth your time to watch this. We do not recommend this movie at all.